to my YouTube channel. My name is Hayley and I use this channel to document my journey into zero waste and more natural lifestyle. So if that's what you're kind of into, then please subscribe below and press the like button if you like this video, and join the journey with me. Before we get started, I know my hair is quite disgusting. I'm trying another shampoo bar. So I did wash it this morning. Obviously the shampoo bar is not the one I'm going to go with because it doesn't make my hair very nice. So you're just gonna have to bear with it because I'm not washing my hair again for another week.
Now, are there any questions? Keeping in mind that I already explained about my hair.
That's right.
Today's video, we're going to be talking about trying to reduce your waste, household waste and things that get sent to the landfill. Once I started doing this journey, I realised that quite a lot of the stuff that we obviously put in the bin goes to landfill, and that's not what we want to do. So on this video, I'm going to concentrate on trying to reduce it. I'm not going to concentrate on recycling, even though I know recycling has its own issues with what actually gets recycled and where it actually goes. Some people may have seen the documentaries about it being just dumped in Malaysia and other countries like that, but we're not going to concentrate on that today. We're just going to be talking about normal domestic waste, usually going to landfill or also being exported out of the country as well. So if you didn't know, the UK alone generates 221 million tonnes of waste a year. That obviously fluctuates from year to year, but that's the estimate. The majority of that actually comes from construction and manufacturing waste, but a whopping 26 million tonnes of waste is solely from households. So if people think that what they do doesn't make any effort, if all the households made an effort, that is a reduction of potentially 26 million tonnes of waste, which is a lot. And that being sent to landfill or incinerations or things like that is just bewildering how much it actually goes. So if people are good at maths, you have calculated that on average per adult waste is about 409 kilos a year, which is insane amount of waste. I think that we do an okay job, but I definitely want to reduce that. So the first thing that I did to try and reduce it was to track what we binned in a week. So it's me and my boyfriend. We tracked everything that we put in the bin and we couldn't recycle for a whole week. I've got my list of what happened. So it was only 2 A4 pages actually, which is a lot less than I was expecting, but obviously a lot more than we should be. So I did a little analysis on what we threw away, and first of all, the amount of waste that we had was 1.7 kilos. So for people who are super good at maths, what I said before, it's 409 kilo per person per year. So that equates to approximately 9 kilos for 2 of us, as 2 adults. So we only wasted 1.7 kilos in comparison to the 9 kilos per week on average per couple. So for that 409 kilos per person per year, that actually includes all of household waste going out of your house. So that includes your waste going to landfill and also your recycling. The average percentage of recycling in the UK is approximately 45%. It's a bit lower in England and Wales and a bit more in Northern Ireland and Scotland. I think for England, it's approximately 43% recycling. So trying to compare my waste to the national average, taking away about 45% of recycling, that leaves us, it should be around 9 kilos for both me and my boyfriend. So we actually collated 1.7 kilos, which is way less than the national average. That makes me feel a little bit better, but that's still nearly 2 kilos of waste going to landfill each year, which is obviously, if it can be avoided, it should be avoided. So that's what we're trying to do. The analysis of what we binned, the majority of it, 89% of the waste that we put in the bin was food related, whether that was actual waste, leftover food, or packaging for food. Where we live, our council doesn't actually recycle or allow us to recycle food waste, so we don't have a food waste bin, which is quite frustrating. They also don't actually take curbside recycling of glass. We have to go to the local bank for that. Luckily ours is just down the road, so that's fine. But with food waste, we haven't got any option other than to put it in the bin unless I want to make a real effort to do something about it, which I'll talk about later on. So yeah, so 89% is food related, but 55% of our waste that we put in the bin was all food. So that was majority of like banana peels, tea bags, skin from peeling, on offcuts of vegetables and stuff like that. The most binned item was a tea bag, which was solely from me. I binned 22 tea bags in a week, which is an average of around 4 cups of tea a day, which I know is not ideal. And also the tea bags that I use, I bought a bulk of them a while ago from Lidl, which do have microplastics in as well, so that's also not ideal. So I'm going to look to try and get rid of that, reduce it, and get I think I know that Pucker and a couple of the big brands are now starting to do plastic free tea bags, so that's good, but also not ideal if I'm just going to throw it in the bin anyway, but at least then it can biodegrade. So knowing all that stuff, I really recommend if you're trying to reduce your plastic that you track what you put in the bin, and then you can evaluate what you've put in and what you can reduce. So let's move on to the action plan and what we're trying to do about this waste that we put into the landfill each week. So as I said before, the majority of it is food waste, and as our council doesn't allow us to recycle food waste, there are 2 things that I'm going to try and look into. So number 1 is composting. We have a small garden at the back, but composting pots or contraptions that you can get online don't take up too much room, so that's something I'm looking into. But I do know that there are a lot of limitations to composting. I'm still doing my research phase of that, so if anyone has any experience with their own home compost, I would really appreciate some of your advice. If you can give me a comment below, that would be ideal. And then I'm going to try and do that, because that would reduce then our wastage of 55%, which is the majority of it. I must say the majority of it is vegetables, fruit, offcuts, apple cores, banana peels, things like that, which can be composted. I know that meat and dairy, things like that, can be put on the compost, but that's very limited in our situation. So that the majority, I would say 99% of the stuff that we throw out will be able to be composted. So that's something I'm going to look into and try and incorporate. And if I do, I'll make a video of it and put it on, but we'll see, watch this space. Another thing to try and combat food waste is that I do know there's quite a lot of videos online about anti-waste food recipes. I know that with leftover vegetables, you can start regrowing that. And I know that there's some recipes that use the things that you wouldn't usually use, so I'm going to look into try and do that as well. Although I did find one recipe for banana peels, because me and my boyfriend both have a banana each day, and we can make banana chips from banana peel, so I'm going to try and do that and see if that's any good, because that would obviously contribute or reduce a lot of our waste. So the other 11% of our waste went to things like face masks. The face masks that I used were presents from previous year, so it's not like I've actually gone out and bought them, but I will make sure that all my family knows that I want plastic-free face masks in the future, so that's something that I can do. Other things included like a paracetamol pack, which aren't recyclable. I think trying to do more herbal remedies instead might be the way forward there to try and reduce that. I know that I won't be able to eliminate all of the waste that I use, but I am going to try and reduce as much as I can. Food packaging is also quite a large one, separate from the actual food waste. It's all the packaging it comes in. The worst ones for us are vegetables and fruit packaging, so like frozen fruit bags, lettuce bags, broccoli bags, all of that sort of stuff. And what I'm going to try and do to combat that is to start growing more vegetables in my garden, doing herbs and lettuce and stuff, which I hear is relatively easy to grow in your garden. So I'm going to give that a bash. My bread bag actually can be returned to store to be recycled, which I didn't actually know until I started doing this week. So I'm going to start collating that and to go back into the store to be recycled. But although I know that issues with recycling, I'm going to try and buy the breads that come in paper bags or make my own bread. I think a key thing of trying to reduce your waste is making stuff yourself. One of the worst ones for packaging is rice cakes, and me and my boyfriend like eating chocolate covered rice cakes as a snack. And buying those, they come in a bag of 3 bags. So there's 3 rice cakes covered in a bag, 3 of those, and then another bag on top, which I think is a bit ludicrous. So actually the last week I've made my own chocolate covered rice cakes. So just buy the plain rice cakes, which I think plain rice cakes for 20 rice cakes is 89p, and the chocolate covered ones come in bags of 9 with more plastic and are about £1.50. So making my own is obviously cheaper and reduces plastic. The rice cakes that I buy unfortunately are wrapped in plastic as well, but that amount of plastic is significantly reduced than the ones that are ready-made chocolate covered. So this isn't about being perfect, it's about doing what you can, and I think that's what I'm going to try and do the best that I can. And these are all things that you can try at home as well, but that's what I'm trying to concentrate on the most is food waste and food packaging, because I know that that's probably the one thing that I can control the most. Like paracetamol packets, I can make them recyclable, and sometimes I can't go without paracetamol. So if I have a headache, I'm not going to just sit there in pain for just being sit there in pain. I'm gonna take something for it. If there's any herbal remedies that is good for headaches, let me know and I'll try those instead. But for the moment, when I get headaches, it'll be paracetamol I go for. Another thing that we've done for food waste is things like a multi-pack. So we usually buy a multi-pack of tuna because my boyfriend loves tuna, has 1 can a day, annoyingly. But that obviously is wrapped in plastic packaging. So the last time we went food shop, we bought these singular cans, and obviously the cans can be recycled. That was a lot more expensive, annoyingly, and I think this is why we need to get at our supermarkets and keep writing to them to try and reduce their plastic. It's insane that you are paying more for less of their product. So buying 4 cans wrapped in plastic is obviously cheaper than buying 4 cans, but it's less of their product, so really we're saving them money. I know the reason they do it is because then you're forced to buy 4 packs of tuna, but I think in this day and age that amount of plastic is actually unexcusable. I'm going to put a couple of links down below for some petitions that if you can sign to try and get the supermarkets to actually do something more effective about their plastic use in their shops, especially on the fruit and veg. Everything is covered in plastic, which is no excuse for it this day and age. So yeah, that's my overall action plan of trying to reduce my plastic and my waste and trying to stop it going all to landfill. If anybody have any other tips on how I can reduce waste, or any tips about composting, or anything that you're doing to try and reduce your waste, I would love to know. Please comment below. But that's all from me. Please give a thumbs up if you like this video, and I really appreciate the support. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.